Hello, in this video we're going to continue looking at general information for photosynthesis, so let's not waste any of your time. Let's get right to it. Now when we're talking photosynthesis, one of the things that we want to emphasize is that all the energy that begins this process comes from sunlight. 99% of all ecosystems are powered by energy from the sun. I mean, what the plants do, what the plants provide for all of us is, as I mentioned last time, really incredible. If you think of what the plants do, you think of food chains. The idea of the sunlight being absorbed by the grass and making the sugars, and then the herbivore comes along and eats the grass, then a carnivore comes along and eats the herbivore, then a bigger carnivore comes along, and so on and so on until we get to the top of the food chain. I mean, these sugars, so important to us, and all the energy that they provide for everything the cell's got to do. That the deer can feed off the grasses, and then something else, bear, wolf, whatever, comes along and eats the deer and just passes that energy along. Super important, and it just makes life available for all things. Now what you're going to see in the rest of the videos is that photosynthesis, a lot of steps, a lot of processes, a lot of things in play, but we are going to break those all down. We're going to look at the light independent, the light dependent reactions, the LDR, the Calvin cycle. We're going to look at all those things, and as I mentioned, in a variety of ways to help. I mentioned the benefits of how the process are going to make it easier on us, but just looking at this way that the carbon dioxide in the water is used to make those sugars, and again, the idea of taking those two molecules, just simple molecules that are out there in abundance, water, carbon dioxide. I mean, we think that we release carbon dioxide, and we do, obviously, but that's just a small portion of what's available to the plants that are just out there naturally. The idea of taking those molecules, breaking them down, as I mentioned earlier, and making a pile of C's, making a pile of H's, and making a pile of O's, and then using these steps to build that important sugar molecule. And again, the sugar is used, the energy gained from that, or that is released from that, used to power everything that the cell needs to do. Alright, so here's the formula for photosynthesis, and those that recall these two formulas, cellular respiration and photosynthesis, from your EOC days or earlier bio classes, will recognize hopefully that they're the exact opposites of each other. The reactants for cellular respiration are the products for photosynthesis. The products for cellular respiration are the reactants for photosynthesis, and it just makes it easy to remember that, and to memorize that, for lack of a better term. Another little study aid that you can help is that there are 4 components to remember: the carbon dioxide, the water, the sugar, and the oxygen. And the sugar molecule, it's got its subscript numbers, but that's 6, 12, 6, as we know from the carbohydrate ratio of 1 to 2 to 1. And in each of the other 3 molecules, it needs multiples of them to get this job done. but all three coefficients are 6s. So just remember 666, which I know has negative connotation, but in this case it's a super positive one. But so that will help you to remember that how many of the carbon dioxide, how many of the water, how much of the oxygen is released, and of course the glucose molecule 612.6. Well, that's our video for this time. When we come back together, we're going to be looking at the chloroplast. So we'll see you then.